Don't worry
Hey,
about it.
everybody. I'm here today to talk to you all about agency stuff, and I brought my friend who I met a couple weeks back at who was a speaker at what was the conference?
I
And
was at
Matt,
the
introduce yourself.
CDM Summit.
CDM Summit. Okay,
That's right.
it was
Yeah.
really good. You were personally my favorite speaker. You and the
Oh, I
TikTok
appreciate
guy.
that.
Yeah. You and the TikTok guy, because it resonated. But
Awesome.
that's what I found. So I had to get you on here to say hello. Hold on one sec. Hey, Phelan. Thank you. So Phelan shares it into the group because Facebook just changed what they're doing,
Awesome.
but we're gonna be visiting people on LinkedIn, I think, and Facebook, and so if you are joining us in the replay or uh, soon, say hi. I know you will. And Matt, I brought you on here because well, you're bloody interesting, and I have a very strange question for you right off the bat. Now, you told me a story, and I've been holding on to this. I haven't asked you this yet, and I'm so excited to ask you. You bought home quail eggs and you hatched them. Is that correct?
That's
Okay, no.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, and you just bought them from the store, and they you have
So I have, so my name's, I'll introduce myself quickly and then I'll jump back into the quail egg
yeah.
story. My name is Matt Borck and I'm a partner, chief creative and listening officer at the One Group agency with another great human being, Jared. Jared's the other partner. And then we have an incredible team of humans that work for us. So I feel absolutely blessed to be able to work with great humans that are curious, and that are constantly wanting to work with, um, lifting up our clients and their target audiences and creating real true engaged communities through empathy driven marketing. So that's what I do. Who I am is just a curious human being that's trying desperately to be a better human being every single day. Best part of my life is my girls. Absolutely. My two little girls and my wife, best part of my life. And whenever they want anything to try, again, they're just incredibly curious. They wanted to try. We have chickens at home that are their best friends. They have a hamster. They have a bunny. We have deer that live in our yard across the street from us. We have wild bunnies. They wanted to do quail. And so my daughter had seen, she's like, can we go
Oh
to the
yeah.
store? Can we get quail eggs? And can we actually hatch quail eggs? And so the curiosity took over and we began and we did. And so we were able to get three quails, which was adorable.
Yeah, they're really funny. I call them Who birds
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're. I mean, they're so they're so
They're
cute.
tiny.
Oh,
Holy smoke, are they tiny?
yeah, and they can jump up to 6 feet. I hear.
Yeah, yeah,
So
they can take off and go. Yeah, they're unbelievable. But no, my daughters. Again, going back to what we were just talking about in the green room a little bit earlier, is just I feel truly blessed that my wife has taught me everything that I know about who I am. Also with what I do, the skill of the art of listening, which is what I spoke about when we're at the summit, and I do teach about that quite a bit. And also my youngest as well, my two, or not my youngest, sorry, but my two girls, they teach me so much about listening and then putting those things into action. And so I give all credit to them for everything that they've taught me. They teach me daily. That's allowed me to also then bring that into our agency and then also teach that to the people that work with us.
oh, and I love that, right? So because I noticed you have your vehicle wrapped, and you're in Kelowna, right?
No, we're not. We are in White Rock, South Surrey. Where I'm speaking from right now,
Oh,
this is my office actually at our home. I live in Langley, and then we have two offices. We have one in White Rock, South Surrey, one in just opened up in Richmond.
oh, congratulations! It's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
do every day, traveling every day.
that's awesome. And so the premise of your agency is to be your authentic self. So how do you tell me about the clients you work with and how you bring that into what you do? Because I found your talk fascinating when you spoke to us, and it really resonated in that we really try to be our authentic selves. And so I'm a little clumsy and we're a little off the cuff. And it's nice to be yourself. So it's really nice when you meet others who try to build that into what they're doing,
Hmm.
for rich or poor, or what, just have that passion. So
Hmm.
tell me like a little bit more about your agency, who you're working with, how you serve those people, and what we want to learn from you. Like, what do you do that you find works for dealing with clients and growing your agency?
Well, first of all, that's a really loaded question. I'm going to need you to jump in with some of those little micro questions in between there, but
Okay,
I'll,
I
I'll
will
I'll start.
definitely.
Honestly, I'll start by just saying that, like, ultimately, the easiest way to sum it up is we're an empathy-driven marketing agency, and the reason why that's unbelievably important is because when you lead with empathy, which I believe is where the magic starts, then you listen first. right? The people that are truly like, just think, like, even in our relationship, like when I met you, first thing I did was like listened. And then from that, I was able to read so many things, from everything from the way that your eyes engaged, the way that your heart rate was, the way that your body language was, the words that you were saying. In fact, there was more things that you weren't saying that was telling me so much about even how, because it was right after I'd spoke that you came up and said hello. And that tells me so much. And so what that does, though, is that in an empathy driven marketing agency, it looks like coming alongside our clients and wanting to do those things, not just in the physical world, if we get to physically sit down with them, but then we can also utilize so many tools through, I mean, everybody loves to talk about AI, but utilizing tools like AI as well as physical ways of going onto these platforms where your clients and their target audience lives, and you're able to then listen and start by listening and doing it with empathy and trying to get really behind that understanding around their pain points, where I can come alongside and help them as a team, where our team can come alongside. So that's why we kind of sum it up with empathy driven marketing agency, because it kind of starts from there.
Yes.
And
So
we
are you
work
saying that all your services are custom to
all
the
are.
client?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
It
are.
has to be,
It
doesn't it?
has to be. Yeah. And so we
Yeah.
work with everybody from small, very small micro businesses, all the way to small, medium, large. And then we actually just acquired another agency just recently. And so now we have a lot. We just expanded as well, which has been phenomenal. And they're amazing human beings as well. And so we've got everything from high end clients all the way down. And again, one of the great things, though, is that it doesn't matter whether it's a micro client, a small client, or it's a really, really high end client. Empathy driven marketing, it works for all of them. And it makes sense
Hmm.
when you think about the whole point of what we're trying to do as businesses, where nobody gives a shit about, is it
Oh,
okay
yeah.
if
Don't
I,
worry.
okay. So nobody gives a shit about your logo, right? And I hate it. Like, I'm really sorry to say that, like, people that are so concerned with it, nobody really cares. Nobody cares about the font. Nobody cares about the color of it. But what they do care about is whether or not they can trust you. And so the way that we do that is we want to come alongside and help personify that brand, that business. And we want to say, if you were a human, if I was seeing you for coffee, I'm going to expect that you're going to be that same person I'm talking to right now at coffee. But if I met you on right now and you were to share with me and I thought, man, she seems really kind, this is somebody that I'd really like to get to know a little bit more, so I go on to social, but you're not really that person on social. Then I check out other
Hmm.
parts of your marketing and you're now something different again, and then I meet you for coffee and you are completely different. I'm not going to trust you. I'm going to believe that you're lying to me somewhere, and that's going to have an issue with trying to connect authentically. So authenticity is a word that gets thrown around, that got diluted
A
a
lot.
lot, and it sucks because I truly believe in it. But then the other thing too is going back to what it means to be an empathy driven marketing agency, is that we're going to show you by our actions. So if we're truly listening, then our actions with our client are going to show you that we're listening to you and that we're coming alongside. We're not the hero in this. Our clients and their target, specifically to their target audiences, they are. And we want to come alongside them in every way. So we know not only our clients so well, but also the target audience so well, that target audience goes, how did they even know that about me? It's like, because we made the time and we took the time to truly get to know you, so that when we're creating content, it's not guessing that it's going to engage or hoping it's going to actually truly engage, because we've gotten to know you.
Interesting. Yeah. And so, how do you go about doing that? Are you using a lot of video to, or it sounds like it's a whole thing you do.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why it's
yeah.
fantastic. That's one of the things that I love about our name, is the One Group Agency, is that we are one group. We offer so many different things for our clients. So it's amazing that we're able to, if a client comes to us and said, listen, we'd love some help with digital ads. Well, at the summit, that when we're listening there, that it's not just about going, hey, here, let's just create this random piece of content, run it as an ad, pay a lot of money and hope it works. It would be better if you took the time to listen. Okay, well, who's the target audience we're trying to reach? Let's get to know them really, really well. So much so that we know all of their pain points, everything about them. And then now let's also, which is something we do at the agency, is we create content as well. Now let's actually create that specific content targeted for them, that it's with them in mind, so that this person, when they see this piece of content, let's say it's somebody who works an incredibly busy job, and so they don't have a lot of time. They're only really active on LinkedIn. So clearly we want to know that, so that we're not just posting it to Instagram and Facebook or Twitter
Mm-hmm.
or TikTok. We know where they live, and we know specifically where they're active. And then what we do is we realize this is how we can come alongside, and we can help them with this service or with this product. And we genuinely, honestly believe that it's the right choice for them. So we're not going to do any sort of sales. We're not going to do any sort of manipulation. We're literally going to come alongside them and say, I really believe that what we offer, when you're ready, we think this is the right choice for you. And so we're going to cater and make all of that content fluid. But then the other best part too at One Group Agency is that then if that person clicks and goes to our website, well, what if now, like the example I shared with you about going for coffee, what if they get to our website? Now we're trying to portray something we're completely not. And they're like, wait,
Mm,
I just clicked on a very heart, like an authentic piece of content that spoke with me, but now I'm going here and this is not me at all. And now
mm,
that little bits of
interesting.
trust are starting to dilute a little bit. And then what if they go to the other social media platforms like, wait a minute, who are these people? And
Yeah.
that's why at One Group Agency, I really feel blessed that we have a great team, that everybody that manages things from websites to digital ads to content creation to even just coming up with strategies for um, how to create content or how to like there's so much that we offer that I love, that this is the conversations that we want to be having even more at the agency and with our clients, not speaking at them, but having it with, so they really truly understand that, listen, we're trying to come alongside, guide you through this process so that when you do post content, I mean, there's nothing better than creating content that is your own ad and you didn't even mean it to be an ad. It's just that's how
Mm,
well your content's engaging.
that's exciting right there. The creating that content and having it resonate or respond. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably my favorite reason for liking Search Console, I have to
Mm-hmm.
say, because you actually see it. But that
Mm-hmm.
being said, so does your team get together all together, or does a client have like a little team and they're strategizing about the client monthly or weekly, or how does that look?
Yeah, like, and again, just be we did. I mean, there's a lot of things that kind of just have been happening for over the last 6 months. So it was like a rebrand back in June, and then it was like all of a sudden we acquired another agency, and that's we're going through the process of that now. So the great thing is we're getting to learn what that looks like with each one. So the cool thing is that yes, every single one of our clients has something unique that they're wanting us to guide them and wanting us to help them with. And so then what we do is we create a personalized, unique plan for them where we get to meet with the team, and the team members that excel in those areas get to work with them. And it's exciting. They
Oh,
get to
that
come
is
alongside
exciting.
as a team member, go, okay, we're a part of your team now. We want to understand everything about you. So, so that we can make sure that like whatever we're wanting to achieve, we can achieve together. And so whether that's a high end client, whether that's a medium or a small medium, to, like whatever that looks like, each one has, yes, a team that gets together and we communicate as much as possible. It's one thing I will say, you know, when we first started the agency, I remember my wife being my boss for the longest time and still really truly is and has taught me so much. She was the most unbelievable, and she is one of the most amazing communicators. And so I remember telling Jared, I was like, listen, here's the deal. You got to like, I've only ever been self-employed. I've never worked for anybody. So I'm used to
Oh,
massive communication. Like we talk about everything. In fact, I told my wife just the other day, I said, you know, one of the things that I absolutely adore about you is the fact that we can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and go to bed and wake up and still keep talking. And I never get sick of it. I love it. I love that we're able to listen to each other and question each other. Um,
it's a good
it's just one of those
relationship.
things that like, yeah. And I feel like that's something that like, again, that culture that we want to put into One Group Agency is having that open communication where it's okay if we disagree on things. It's okay if we understand. We realize that, you know, we want to, and this is something, again, when I say the culture of One Group Agency is something that we have to live out every single day. So with
Kind of
people
might
that
want to
work for
come
us,
work at your agency.
yeah. Well, it's also too like one of those things that again, because we have new people working with us, then it's something that you can't just say, right? Like everybody loves to say, well, this is like, or how many times have you gone into a business where they're like, these are our core values, and then they point on the wall and they've written these core value statements on the wall, and then like I actually just watched this in action where I watched a team, have to be very careful how I say this, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
watched the team not live out core values that I know that they've said that these are core values. And it really, it hurt me so much that I actually noticed I carried it with me as I left the job. Like it just hurt me so much because I realized they want us to portray something, but their team isn't that. And so the reason why I share that is because like even with us having new employees, it's something that I'm always wanting to them to know how much I value them just for breathing air. I feel so honored that we have such an amazing group of people that work for us that I haven't even got to know a lot of them on the intimate level that I'd like to. So I have to make myself available. I have to communicate as much as I can through all the tools that we have available at the agency so that we have this amazing group of people, but they're all busy. And so I understand too that we borrow people from their actual lives to come work for
yeah.
us. Like
Yeah,
it's not
and
the other
that's
way around.
huge. That's, there's a line of respect I think we've all had. Well, maybe not you, because you haven't worked for others, but man, a
How dare
lot
you?
of us who work for ourselves like have experienced some pretty toxic behavior from higher ups, right?
Hmm.
Who you're trapped as an employee because a person can treat you poorly. And this is your livelihood, right? You are going
Yeah.
there, giving your time. It's your livelihood. And so, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to be a leader.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that, I mean, we have a very small team, but it's been hard to be a leader. It's been hard to learn that. It's been hard to learn about hiring for, like, it's not where we're strong
Yeah.
at or where we started off being strong. We're getting there, but it's like, but we have like a solid core little team that we meet every day and we strategize about clients and
That's
like
awesome.
because well our job I make a joke. It's kind of a funny joke, but clients are like, oh, how long do people stay with you? I'm like, well, we're like accountants, so like 7 years or until you're dead,
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah. Well, because it's got to be funny, and it's about respecting them and growing their
Yeah.
business and being the technical assistants we are to them,
Yeah.
right? Getting things out the door, showing them where to look, like, and that's made a huge difference. But I haven't met too many other agencies that do that, and it sounds like that's exactly what you do, but just
You know,
at a bigger level.
yeah, I'll be brutally honest with you. Like I don't like attention. I just don't. Like it's a really hard. That's why I shared even at the summit. Like when I do speak, I love to help. That's the thing. I've always had a heart and a passion for helping and teaching. I've always loved that. But that also means that I have to get over my anxieties, insecurities of getting up and being able to do those things. And so, even being somebody who is in a role as a partner at an agency, I mean, like I'm at home right now in my studio, like and I don't even have an office at our head office, like I and so living it out is something that I cannot thank Jared enough, who's the other partner at the agency, for always encouraging me to not just come in, but also like he does such a good job. He's there every day. So when I'm on location and I'm working with our clients on location, he's not only doing the same thing, but he's also in the office as well, helping to create that culture. Because as you mentioned, I do believe it comes from top down, and that is one of my greatest
Mm.
fears, is not being present. Is like, it's one thing for me to say, yeah, we're an empathy driven marketing agency, we just don't ever see him around. And it's like, oh, like it hurts my heart because
Yeah.
I adore, like when I come in and I feel so blessed to know that we have all these amazing people that work for us and we get to do what we do together, and that we love what we do. And yes, there's hard days. Yes, there's challenging days. Like, and there's little things that come up, but ultimately I know that I would never, I hope everybody, and this is one thing that I want to continually encourage at our agency, is that like we would never ever say anything at our agency to intentionally offend each other. So we should know that then there's free reign to always share from our heart ideas, concepts, thoughts, this challenge other ideas, because we would never intentionally hurt anybody. But again, I say that very naively, never working for anybody else, where like I have seen a lot of that toxicity in businesses, from large, very very large businesses all the way down to small. And it's amazing because
Mm.
I've been in the rooms before where I've literally had to tell, say, a CEO after a meeting, like, man, you guys, you don't need me, you need a psychologist. Like there is a lot of toxicity. Like in fact, I can tell you, when that one person entered the room, all the
Everything
females turned
changed.
the other way and they
Oh.
didn't say a word. But why did that happen? Because there's something there. And I recognized it again, that listening. I listened right away. So I actually realized that I needed to be careful how I spoke with them, because why were they turning their back? And so all of those things are things that I realize that, yes, I am coming from a place of working with the greatest communicator that I've ever met ever. She's absolutely phenomenal, in my wife.
It's awesome.
And now Jared and I, like, and the cool thing about working with Jared is that we're both different people. So we've even learned how to communicate, because his communication is different than mine, but we've both been open to learning from each other and understanding how we communicate so we work well. And there's been times, even today, I'm going to be really open and transparent with you.
Yeah, yeah,
So we
yeah.
had a meeting this morning, and I was a little bit like, I think part of it was I just had an experience yesterday that kind of threw me off. So I was still carrying a bit of that experience. So the way that I read something, I just kind of read it wrong. My bad. I completely own up to that. So we were talking about it. We thought, we'll take it away from our conversation over text because it doesn't seem to be working. We'll actually talk about it. And the thing about Jared and I is that we're usually saying the same thing, just differently. And so
Oh,
sometimes in
interesting.
that missed communication, it can cause something when we realize, hang on a second, we're actually saying the
Friction.
exact same thing. And one thing that I truly appreciate about Jared is that Jared's open to that, and I'm open to it as well. I'm not just into proving that I'm right, and I know Jared's not into proving he's right. And so that's something that I appreciate about him very, very much, is that we both want the same thing. And sometimes it just takes back going, oh, like, you're saying I'm realizing I'm trying to hear it through the way that I hear things, and I realize I just need to not do that. I need to understand where you're coming from and listen through the way that you communicate. And now I get it. We're saying the same thing. Okay. And then just realize too, I fully opened up to the fact that I said, listen, there was a bit of an experience yesterday while on location. It's still sticking with, it wasn't like, it was just something that kind of hurt my heart a little bit. And I'm an incredibly sensitive person. It didn't happen to
Understand
me.
that.
I overheard it, but it was enough that I was like,
Oh.
oh, it just,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's hard. I'm very sensitive too, and it can really affect you. Just like,
Yeah.
it's funny. Um, I got an email. Now, sometimes I'm maybe misinterpret or come at things in the wrong way because you've been hurt another way or whatever. But I read an email last week, and I I read it and I thought initially, oh, this client does not like me and they're annoyed. Yeah. And then I left, did some stuff, came back, and I decided it was a weird decision. I decided I was like, I'm going to read this email in a sing
Mhm.
songy way, like to reread it. And there was no malice. There was no, it was me. I had come at it the wrong
Mhm.
way. And
Yeah.
so I read into it into flat like like things that don't move, right? You shouldn't, and we don't know that we're doing it sometimes, and we don't catch ourselves. But when you do catch yourself, it's pretty funny because if
Yeah.
you read an email in a sing-songy way, it's not bad, like usually, and then it changes how you're going to respond, right?
Yeah.
And I
No,
mean, people,
that
yeah,
I really appreciate that you bring that up because it's something that even my girls like that have reminded me is like there's times where yeah, I'll read something a certain way and I'll feel like and instantly I'm hot, I'm sweaty, and I'm like, why
yeah,
am I taking it this way? And I realize a lot of it is actually just trauma. Like it's the way that I have perceived something, the way that I felt inside. And so, and again, I'm not saying that like I'm not necessarily meaning like big T trauma. It might just be also what didn't happen to you, or that I realized it just hit me in a way that brought up every insecurity. And so I hear my little girls go in my mind. I replay and I hear them say things like, "Dad, like why? Like so, why would you feel? Why would you respond in that way? What is your body saying?" And I realize, oh, you know what? I do have to just own up to the fact that, like, okay, that made me just feel like what I shared was invalid or just wasn't smart, right? And you're like, oh, so that's actually me. It's not them at all. So I'm reading this whole thing based off these. I've got these glasses of this trauma on me where I just feel like I'm not smart,
ooh,
and
glasses
that's
of
not necessarily
trauma.
the, right. That's not necessarily the case. But I realized that like, okay, I got to work on that, and so I do appreciate. That's one thing that I appreciate having very open and honest girls, and anybody that has children knows that they're not going to settle for I don't know. They're going to keep asking you, well, why? Well,
I
why?
think
And
it's
I love that
important.
aspect of digging deeper to find out those things.
See, I
Yeah.
don't have kids, but I will say that I have a psych background, and my partner's mother came from industry where you had to be very specific, and you had to understand your emotions. And so we take a lot of ownership in our behaviors.
Oh, that's
We,
awesome.
well, because everybody's going to argue. You're all
Yeah.
not going to get along, but what's most important is what happens after. And it
Yeah.
sounds like your girls are helping. I mean, this is the thing. I think younger generations are so much smarter than us, and I think we should be. I mean, I don't have any kids, but I think they should be the focus because, in all
Mhm.
honesty, if you if they're learning how to identify the feelings in their bodies and how to figure out how to communicate that, if you can learn that, then you can, because we feel things, and like
Mhm.
it does affect our day, our mood, our work. And and it's okay. Like, we shouldn't, if you have an off day, like, one of the reasons working for yourself is so beautiful is because if you're having a hard day, maybe you can stay in your pajamas, but you can still work, or like you go with your body. And I think
Mhm.
maybe our future will be like that, where we'll, it sounds like your agency is doing that with people, and sounds like people are growing at your agency, like in leaps
I
and
am,
bounds.
right? Like, I think and you know what? I think what you just shared there is absolutely beautiful because 'cause you're curious then, and you're okay with, like, those feelings, that you're feeling and acknowledging those feelings, putting words to those feelings, but also realizing we don't get emotional. We are emotional human beings, and so
Mm,
that's why, again, I go back to what I shared earlier about how, we borrow people from their lives feeling exactly how you shared, but but we also have like a very flexible work environment where they can come into the office or they can stay home depending upon how they feel. And I don't want anybody to think you have to
Yeah.
disregard how you're feeling and come in and pretend, because then they're not going to be the best version of themselves for our clients and for themselves as well. I want them to know we validate them for breathing air. They're incredible humans. One of the biggest things I always say that we're looking for when we're hiring at the agency is just empathy. Everything else can be
Mm-hmm.
really be taught. But I do like, even someone might say, well, how is this relevant? Like they're talking about children and this. It's like, actually, it's completely relevant, because when you realize that when you lead with empathy, when you open up and you begin to share, you begin to build a relationship. And so those relationships, when they're built off of, trust is not just given, but it's earned. And I think that those things, it's like, well, how do we do that stuff? And so we try to treat every single one of our clients as a friend. We're building a friendship with them. And sometimes those friendships start by just kind of shooting the shit a little bit and talking about the weather and pets and things that we're doing. But then as that relationship starts to grow and that person feels a little bit more and more comfortable, and they feel more and more comfortable, how? By asking questions, by truly listening. And then on our end, it's not just listening, but then putting into action what we've heard. Right. And that's the key. Is then, so then how does that look for all of our employees? Well, if they're having a bit of an off day, then it means, hey, just let us know. You can work from home. It's all good. And then, or come on into the office if we're doing this, or do a combination of both, whatever it looks like for you, because we want you to bring your entire self. And I think that
Oh, I
that's
love
something
that.
that I feel blessed that Jared at the agency is awesome at. Is he leads by example. Is like, listen, guys, like we want you to come in and we want you to be who you are, and we want you to bring that in. Like if you got a pet, bring it into the office. Like if that's a huge part of who you are, bring it in. Right? Like
I think that's huge.
these are things that I think that um, again, I really feel blessed at the agency that we have not just one person trying to communicate everything, but we're an entire group that's open to each other, and we're trying to remain as curious as possible. And I honestly will selfishly say that I love learning from like every single person that works for us. They're all different ages, and I love learning from them because they see things in a way that I don't, and I
Mm-hmm.
truly appreciate. I'm trying my best to not just fit things that fit my narrative or my bias, but to be open to other things and realize that I don't want to close things off. Again, because I feel, going back to the teaching aspect of wanting to help our clients and guide them through things, I feel like I owe it to them to remove my ego, my bias, my narrative. That's absolutely essential.
It is very hard to do at times because you don't, I mean, oftentimes people, including myself, don't know they're biased, don't know, like,
True.
I mean, down to some of our plants are named funny names because, or I love the most recent example I heard. So, an old lady who lives in the woods gets really old and lives in the woods with cats. Lived a long time, outlived the plague. People called them witches, but maybe it was just a lady who lived with her cat in the woods and didn't want to be with a man. You know what I mean? Like we place what we think on things. Um, to identify with your point about learning with others or from others, I ran a group home for at-risk teens in my 20s, and one of the things that I learned while running that group home was that you have something to learn from everybody.
Yeah.
So don't discount anybody, and
Yeah.
just realize like learning is not like I'm above you or I'm smarter than you. It's like this. You can't be the smartest at everything. Or maybe some people think they can, but if you're willing to learn from people, it's a give and take. And like, I'm going to be an expert at something. You're going to be an expert at something. I'm going to suck at something. You probably suck at something. I'm not sure. I have to work hard to get good at things. Some people are just good at things, right? So, um, I love how you are building your agency. Now, I know somebody, we're going to take a couple extra minutes here today. I know somebody would kill me if I didn't ask a question, which is, and she herself has bought another agency, but that is one of the ways to grow is
Mm-hmm.
to purchase an agency. Yes. And tell us a little bit about that, if you have a minute.
No, I do. Yeah.
What's that like? There's new people. Are they integrating into your system? Tell us. Is it a good idea to do this if you're an agency owner? Buy another agency.
So is it a good idea? That's going to be up to you and who you are, right?
Good
And
answer.
where you're at, as well as like what your vision is for your agency, and then ultimately aligning with who you are as an agency. If that's something that aligns with you, then yes, it would be a great thing. But for us, it was about relationships. Absolutely. Going back to a relationship of looking at who the One Group agency is and how we want to engage with our target audience. And so we realized that there was an opportunity with this other agency, and they're good people. They're good human beings that do unbelievable work. And so when the opportunity came up and we were asked about inquiring to purchase them, it was kind of one of those things that we had to take it seriously, and also had to look at every aspect of just how awesome they are, and not just what they do. Right, that's the thing. I'm very particular to say, like, the crew that we now have from that agency is, like, I think they're the best. Like, I
Wow.
honestly think they're the best. And so, and I also think, though, that our crew at our agency is the best too. So that's why we felt like it was such a perfect team to to bring them on. So,
Wow.
so we are one agency now. We're one group agency. It was perfect timing for the rebrand to also just kind of bring that back in. But I will say that, going back to, like, one of my biggest fears was, how do you then live out with these new people that have gone through an experience? And this is something that I truly appreciate, even with Jared reminding me, is that, um, let's just say, like, our agency was then purchased and now we're having to be a part of a new agency. Like, how would I feel again? So let's
Mm,
start with empathy. But how would I feel going into this situation? How would I want people to, um, I guess, the
really?
almost the like, how would I want to be accepted? How would I want to be welcomed? Even in being a part of the team. And again, it goes back to, then all of my worries came back up of, like, worrying about, like, I've gotten to know our team, which was a lot smaller, but now our team just more than doubled. And so I want to get to know them too, because I do think they're great people. I've heard about this agency for a long time. I've followed what they do. I think they're phenomenal human beings. I want them to know how much I appreciate them. And now they're a part of our team. And then the other thing too is that I always forget that I am a partner at the agency, because I've always, um, like, I've always said, like, my wife has been my boss forever. Like, and I always feel that I forget that, um, I am a partner at the agency. It's just something that's new to me. Like, even though
Yeah.
we've been doing it for a long time, it's just something that I still forget. And so then my insecurities creep in of, like, oh, I really hope that they're, like, feeling welcomed, and that they feel a part of it, and that they don't need to, like, they're validated just for breathing air. They're great human beings. They're so incredible at what they do. And so, yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot to it. A lot of research went into, like, whether or not this was the right decision for us at the right time. But there, like I said, for us at One Group Agency, it was absolutely essential that we partnered with great human beings, and each and every single one of the people that have come over to, work with us, are great human beings, and I feel truly blessed. They've taught me a lot already, which has been unbelievable. And that's the other thing too, is that it's just, the more that we communicate, the more that we talk, the more that we find out about each other every single day. Even just the little subtleties of, this is how you do that. That's amazing. I've been doing it this way, which is a little bit slower. So this is fun. Just the little tiny things that we've been able to teach each other. And again, then, when I look at what they've been able to share with us already, with what they do with their clients and how their processes work, and the way that we can streamline things so that our clients are
Ooh.
getting the very, very best that they deserve, it's been phenomenal. Like, it's been a really cool experience. And I can't rave enough about how, like, it's just been an unbelievable thing for our agency, just from a selfish perspective of bringing great human beings on board to work with. Because I do believe that I'm excited to share who they are with our clients, and go, you guys are going to be blown away. Like, if, like,
Mm.
again, that's the one thing that gets me nervous, is that, um, the One Group Agency as a person is this, what we're doing right now, what we're talking, the same thing if you were to talk to Jared, or same thing with anybody on our team, and now same thing with the new members of our team. And that can be a scary thing, though, if you don't trust your team, right? That
Yeah,
can be,
it we're small
that,
because of that. Because
right. And
we
that's
just
something I think about all the time, is, it's like, it's one thing for me to say these things. This is who we are, blah, blah. And that's why I get even nervous. Like, I do have to get better at even teaching our team, and being there to lead by example, and to listen to our team. And then not just to listen to what the new members are saying, but the ones that have been there for a long time, and then implementing those changes quickly, not waiting, not, doing things so that they understand, wow, they're really truly, like, when I say something, they really listen, and they're putting it into action. And then on top of that, our clients are like, holy smoke, this is amazing. Like, we're able to do these things and just really blow our clients away, and say, listen, here's the thing, like, everything we do is for you, right? It's for the way that we can connect you with your target audience in a true way that is real, that does build trust, that those people are around. Your target audience is going to be with you forever. It's not just a one and done deal. And that's something that makes me so
true,
excited about each person that works with us, and each person that works for us, with us, I should say, to be honest.
right? It's funny, the with and for. I like to say with,
Yeah.
and I love that because working with people is it's like a sign of respect,
Yeah.
right? Working for
Yeah.
people is it's different. So I do
Yeah.
correct people when I'm like, no, no, we work with each other, right? So
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
let me ask you this now: if people are looking for you and they want to learn more about one agency, where do they go to? Where are you hanging out online?
So the easiest thing they could do is just check out the One Group Agency on like our website if they want. It's just the og.co. But ultimately, if they want to connect again, like I mentioned, like they're going to find us on social from Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff. But I'm always active on LinkedIn. I think that's one of the places where a lot of people love to reach me just because they love to ask questions, as well as I'm always willing to help in any way. So they can find me just through my name, Matt Borck, on LinkedIn, or they can look up the One Group Agency and it'll link to me through there. But yeah, no, again, I love helping and I love being able to be honest and transparent. And I appreciate even your time to be able to have these conversations because I know even for me, like, again, I learned so much through this that I feel really blessed to have met you.
Yeah, yeah. I am. Well, you're going to be coming back on this, and You're in our group, so which is perfect. And yeah, I adore. I mean, I think there should be some networking or like a mastermind or something where people can actually, have you as a contributor in that scenario. Just saying,
Oh, that's
right?
awesome. No, I
So
do. That's one
one.
of the things that I love the most is I love being able to go work with teams and to be able to consult with them, to listen to them and look at areas that we can come alongside and teach them. And so that's one thing too. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, is like there's times where like Jared and I will talk ourselves out of work, but ultimately it's because we believe for our client that if we want them to trust us, then I got to realize like maybe it's smarter if I come alongside your team who you've already got as a division that does this, but I can teach them a few things that would really help to streamline, to utilize tools that would help to streamline so that they're getting the results that they're looking for and more. And it might mean, I mean, obviously, I would love our agency to do all that stuff, but if it means that I can build a relationship with them of trust, then I know that they're going to speak on my behalf and say, "Hey, you need to work with a One Group Agency. These guys are who they say they are." And ultimately, that's what we're about: is every single person that works with us, knowing that no matter if they're getting out for coffee and they say, "Oh, somebody asked, well, where do you work?" "I work at the One Group Agency." That's the representation of our brand right there, which is
Mm-hmm.
why it's so essential to live out, even like to live out every day. That again, like I have probably some stories that I should say from a Slack message that I sent that I just, it might have come across as a little salty or prickling. That was never my intent. And especially with
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's still getting to know me, that's new. Like again, if I look at it, it was because, like I said, I'm an emotional person, but unfortunately something that happened yesterday was still feeling a little bit fresh, and I should have just taken a moment, as you mentioned, to maybe breathe, to walk away and to realize like, oh, they don't mean it this way. Like, and just to, and I
Mm-hmm.
am, again, going back to my trauma, I'm definitely a people pleaser. So it's like, if I have a client that's waiting on something, they are my commitment because I've told them they're going to get it. So then I'm a little bit like, if you want me to do this thing, it's going to take me away from here, but I feel like I owe it to this client. But at the same time, I feel like I owe it to the person that works for me. And then I responded in a shitty way, and I should have never done it. Like, and even then, it
Mm-hmm.
was like not the, it wasn't mean, but I just know that I could be better. I could be a way better human being,
Well,
right? And
you're a
that's
bit of a
why
ginger,
I
aren't
have.
you?
What's that?
You're a bit of a ginger. You seem
Oh,
orangish.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I don't. I work with my partner. I will tell you
yeah.
that I have said. I mean, I said something the other day. I thought it was funny, and he told me the language I used was something he might say as a bricklayer when he was a bricklayer. I was like, oh, okay.
That's your new
So
title for your position at the agency. Hey, you're a bricklayer now.
bricklayer. So it was
Yeah,
pretty funny
that is
in
awesome.
that, you gotta, I took it back and I said, I'm sorry. I thought it was, and yet
Yeah,
that's
but
the thing,
that's the thing though.
ownership.
I think that we're not doing right. Like, is I think that like we have all these. I mean, I'll definitely have to come back on because there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
questions that I know that we didn't get a chance to like answer. But like one of the challenges that we talked about is like just even communication itself and like having somebody own up and say, "Listen, I screwed up," right? Or I shouldn't have responded that way. Like, because ultimately, if I do want people to feel safe and secure and to know that like I don't want them to come into work like feeling anxious or feeling nervous about
Mm-hmm.
things, is like, oh, like when I say this, it doesn't get taken. Like, I don't want that at all. In fact, like I don't want them ever to feel that way. So I think it is important that we acknowledge and like own up to things right away and say, my bad. It's like, I really, like, I'm sorry. And I think
Yeah.
that when we do that as leaders, we will be creating a culture that we're proud of, and a
Mm-hmm.
culture that I want my little girls to grow up in. I don't want my girls growing up in a culture of the past where, there's things that you said that you've experienced. I'm like, I'm not okay with that. So I'm going to do my very best to then live with authenticity and transparency and admit when I'm wrong. And again, those are those things that like, I'm just so gracious and thankful that my team is patient and my team is kind and my team has great hearts and they're curious. And so that we have that understanding for each other. And I think that's why we are so unique at One Group Agencies, because we all want that. We all want to go, I love what I do. I love who I get to do it with. And I love that we get to like elevate our clients and lift our clients up, that it's all about our clients and them engaging with their target audiences in a real way. So,
Mm. It is top down. Every company I've ever worked at, the way management acts is the way the person who gets paid the lowest acts.
yeah.
Like if you know if the owners don't say good morning when they walk into a business to employees, and like they just ignore them, that transcends down so that the new employee probably doesn't feel good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, I'd
I
feel
have
so shitty if I made anybody feel like that. That would never be my intention. And then
yeah.
I just loop think, I feel so bad. Like, I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, oh, and again, it just boils down to like, I just got to keep doing that work every single day on trying to just become a better human, to learn from my mistakes, to own up to them, to do it in
Yeah.
front of them as well. That's one thing that I learned, that like I do it with my girls. So why would I not do it with my team? Right. Is own up to
Yeah.
the things, admit it, let them know that it's a safe place to say, hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry about that. And I did not mean in any way to say what I said or to be a little salty or prickly. So
Now, are you hiring right now?
at the moment, I don't know if we are actually. I don't think we are. No.
Okay, I was going to say because I know there's some people in our group that are looking. But
Well, I mean,
listen,
we're always open. That's the thing. I'm never going to say no. Again, if like opportunities
oh,
arise where there's good humans, yeah, send them our way for sure.
right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I can't wait to collaborate with you more,
Me
and
too.
we will get you on here again. And we're going back to the green room. And if you're joining us or have questions for Matt, you know where to find him at og.co.
See, od.co.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. All right, see you next time, everybody. Bye.
Thanks.